Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vishwaro Guratmeti Mujibeda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satiguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste, Chapter 6, Introduction. So, the sixth chapter is going to elaborately and comprehensively deal with this very, very important spiritual sadhana called meditation. Yeah? So often, let's say, misintroduced in the Western world. And we will come to that. Okay, so I mean to say, meditation must be introduced within the context, a certain context, which begins with spiritual, religious lifestyle, in observance of Dharma and practicing Karma Yoga. But unfortunately, meditation is presented for most people, such as in this movement of Vipassana, and but people lacking certain qualifications, they don't get much of meditation. They get much of frustration. I play with these two words. Before we go into the proper verse, let's get to the basic ideas, Vedantic ideas regarding meditation. These ideas are given in the Upanishads. We must remember that the Gita is based on the Upanishads. The Gita is not an independent text. So we must be clearly about the role and purpose of meditation in our spiritual process, sadhanas. But before knowing what is the role and purpose of meditation, we should first clearly know what meditation is not meant for. Because most of us were introduced to meditation. I was, at least, and I believe most people were introduced in the West. Most everybody have moved away from the concept of God, and then we want to be spiritual, and then we introduce to some techniques to calm down the mind, and they call it meditation. And consciously or unconsciously, we tend to believe that meditation is a means to self-knowledge, okay? A means of self-knowledge and moksha. So we will see what is the purpose. So what meditation is not meant for. It's not meant for meditation often, because there are so many ideas, misconceptions regarding the role of meditation. First of all, we should know that meditation is not meant for self-knowledge, and it's not meant for liberation. We do not prescribe meditation for moksha. Why? Because according to our scriptures, moksha is our very intrinsic nature. We don't need to meditate for that. So we cannot meditate for achieving or gaining that which was already achieved and gained, because it's my intrinsic nature. So meditation serves no purpose in that sense. At the most, we could say that we can meditate for understanding that moksha is our very intrinsic nature. And that would take us to the nididhyasana, which is the last stage in the process of gaining this firm and clear understanding that my very nature is freedom, my very nature is free, limitless, conscious existence. But let's not jump the gun. Let's go in the style of Swami Paramarthananda, very skillfully building, and in a very detailed way so that we don't miss any part, and we develop the clear whole picture. No? So if meditation is not a means for self-knowledge and liberation, and then what is a means for self-knowledge and liberation? So as we know, as was even stated by Ramana Maharaj, only by knowledge liberation can be attained. Only by understanding, that you are already free, you can own and claim your free nature. So if something is already our intrinsic nature, so all what we need to do is to recognize it and claim it and own it, accept it. So shall we do something? Not at all. We just need to understand it. And there begins our problem, because in the West, we moved away from God and the religious lifestyle. We became more materialistic, like most Western societies. But we want to be spiritual as well. So we want spirituality, but we do not want to know about God and the relationship between the creature and the creator and the laws and principles structuring the field of interaction. So that is the difficult. Knowledge, and knowledge alone is the means for self-knowledge and liberation. So we must remember that in no book, enlightenment is described as self-experience. In all books, enlightenment is described as self-knowledge, knowing yourself. By knowledge alone, only knowledge is the means for liberation. In fact, even knowledge does not accomplish liberation for us. Knowledge reveals the fact that liberation is already an ever accomplished fact, truth. When it's said that not even knowledge you're going to accomplish, because you go through all the process of Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, and then in the end, oh my God, so much trouble for understanding something that it is my very intrinsic nature, but I had to go through all this knowledge process, okay, so that I could come to that firm conviction in regards to the final statements of the Vedas. So it is the gain of that which was already gained. It is the accomplishment of that already ever accomplished. So therefore, the knowledge is not going to produce it. We can say at the most that the knowledge is going to remove or cancel those wrong notions that were preventing us from appreciate and enjoy our true nature as Ananda, as limitlessness. Everywhere you find in the Upanishads, all of them, the statements say that only by knowledge, liberation can be gained, can be accomplished, can be understood. Nowhere in the scriptures of Upanishads says that liberation can be gained by meditation. And again, we are using the same word meditation, that it's dhyanam. And this dhyanam is the dhyana every Western or all over the world we are introduced to, which is the first stage in the process of meditation, which is relaxation meditation. People believe that they can do certain meditation, that they are going to be so relaxed, the mind becomes silent, and then I get enlightened by gaining some wonderful experience. So there is nowhere in the Upanishads that says liberation can be gained by deep meditation. Deep meditation is not considered a means for self-knowledge and moksha by Vedanta, by the Upanishad. Meditation is not considered a means for knowledge and freedom. In the scriptures, we discuss different means of knowledge. We are not going to get into these details right now. Even Swami is saying that, thanks God, Swami. But means of knowledge, that is perception, inference, a testimonial of a third person or a second person. And then there is other 2, 3 means of knowledge. One of them is by negating certain things, you can have a certain knowledge. And which, by the way, is not far from the Vedantic process of net. And then you end up, by exclusion, getting a certain knowledge. All those self-knowledge is none of these 6 different kinds of means of knowledge. Self-knowledge is a paroksha jnana, is a direct, immediate knowledge in respect to your true nature. So what's the point? Meditation is not prescribed for liberation. That's the point. The point number 2 is meditation is not prescribed for knowledge as well. Self-knowledge, let's be specific. So the first, meditation is not prescribed for liberation, for moksha, because I'm already free. Freedom is my very nature. And then the second point is meditation is not prescribed even for self-knowledge. Why? Because meditation, as we know it in the West or even in India, the entire scriptural body of teachings talks about samadhi as a means for self-knowledge and freedom. Vedanta says, no way. So knowledge cannot take place in samadhi because samadhi is so attractive. The mind becomes so silent and peaceful. And then ignorance is going to subside there, and ignorance is going to become very quiet and silent, almost non-existent. But it will come back again once that mental condition modifies. And then again, the meditation, which was never addressed during samadhi, has remained intact. The ignorance, the self-ignorance, which was never addressed during Nirvikalpa Samadhi or any other Samadhi, remained intact and then comes to the surface again. Okay, so therefore, you can never get self-knowledge in the yogic meditation. Okay, so self-knowledge cannot be gained by yoga, meditation, and liberation cannot be gained because liberation is our intrinsic nature. So why we do meditation for then? I mean, you can do meditation under the assumption that one day you're going to get a certain experience that is going to set you free. But this usually or very rarely happens. There are rare exceptions to the rule. The rule is only knowledge will set us free because we are already free. And this knowledge is not gaining deep meditation, but it's gained by Shravana, in Shravana, as we know. So the third thing to keep in mind is that for a true Vedantic or moksha seeker, as the meditation is not prescribed for having ordinary, extraordinary, or mystic experience. I don't know, if I meditate, maybe I'm going to have some wonderful, mystical, transcendental experience, and one of those is going to set me free with a hard and fast self-knowledge. No. all of those extraordinary experience, or mystical or transcendental experience, they are time bound. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And very rarely somebody learns something from those beautiful experiences. Very rarely. First, because it's very seductive, and then the mind is going to say, this is it, like the this is it gurus, né? Like James used to play with this is it gurus. You sit before the guru and said, oh, I had this and that mystical experience. The guru said, this is it. No, this is not it. You are it. Huh? So meditation is not prescribed for that. And as we know, mystical experience happens when the mind is on a certain state. But even the people who somehow have that tendency, some mystical vasanas, mystical experience vasanas, they tend to report that it's very difficult to repeat the same mystical experience twice. So what are we doing? I mean, it does not mean, you see, Swamiji is going to say, it does not mean to say that mystical experience will never happen in deep meditation, in silence, in peace. It may happen if there is some tendency, there's some mystical vasanas, esoteric vasanas, they may come, but they represent a huge obstacle for the truth seeker of moksha, as we know. Do you agree, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Therefore, meditation is not even prescribed for having wonderful mystical experience. The reason is all experience, ordinary or extraordinary or transcendental, they are in the realm of object of experience. They are finite in time and space, and experience bound by time is finite, therefore is meet your experience, as you know, objective experience. Doesn't matter if it's the ordinary experience or extraordinary experience. I used to say often in the past 10 years or 5 years ago, the most, I don't remember myself saying this again, the yogis, they tend to have a huge ego because they have this, here and there, they have this mystical experience, which are extraordinary experience. And they feel like, oh, I have access to certain experience that no common human beings have. You understand? So I am a mystic. I'm all over this, dimension, esoteric realms and so on, and having this experience. And the point, once you become a serious candidate for moksha, is that an object of experience is an object of experience. It's mithya. Yeah? It's mithya. And none of those objects of experience are going to remain forever, because the nature of every experience is impermanence. It's beginning, middle, and end. And it keeps changing as well. Mystic experience will deal with mystic objective universe, because all of the experience belong to the objective world alone. The experiencer, the subject, can never become an object of experience. So all experience belong to what? To the objects. It's an object of experience. And I know you have no confusion between what the concept of what is a subject and what is an object. But I tend to present a very simple logic that even makes it easier not to confuse one with the other. Anything that can be objectified by I is an object, and every object is mithya. So I am Satya, anything that can be objectified by me is an object of experience. And every object of experience is mithya, and I am satya. So the experiencer, the absolute subject can never be reduced to an object of experience. Therefore, none of those experience is an experience of the self. But the self is not available as an object of experience. This is nothing new, but it's so important to keep it in mind, because the most common thing is to fall for the seduction that this and that experience is finally my ultimate destination. I got to meet the self. But then the self comes, and then the self goes, the self comes, the self goes. And so we are smart enough to know that none of that is the self, because I am the self, the true subject. I will never be seen because I'm the seer. The eyes can never see themselves, but they see the entire cosmos. So don't matter if the object of experience is mystic or mundane. Very carefully, we do not question the possibility of having mystic experience. We are not questioning that possibility. What Vedanta says is there are mystical experience, there are extraordinary experience, there are transcendental experience, but every experience belongs to the objective field, the so-called mithya order, apparent order of reality. Every experience is an object. It is mithya. It is impermanent, and it's going, at the most, produce a vasana for more and possibly better. Any object of experience will never deal with the true nature of the seer. And some object of experience so seductive, I know I'm repeating myself, that makes even more difficult for the experiencer inquire into the very light of consciousness, illuminating, revealing that mystic object of experience. So when the object of experience is wonderfully attractive, the intellect falls more easily to the notion that this is it. When the intellect is just dealing with ordinary experience, the intellect does not fall for any delusion such as this is it, because the intellect knows that any experience of the world is not going to fulfill me, but this mystic experience, this transcendental experience, can you get it? How seductive and how easy it is for the meditator to lose its viveka and fall for that trick of Maya. None of these objects of experience come under self-knowledge or spiritual knowledge or spiritual wisdom. They come under material knowledge, samsari knowledge. Okay, it's all samsara. It is the mystic samsara, that is the spiritual samsara, the sacred samsara, the religious samsara, and there is the mundane samsara. Now, everything is samsara. Everything comes under the category of material objective knowledge only. And since they deal with the only objective material knowledge, they are incapable of giving liberation. Any objective material knowledge means to say any object, anything that I can objectify and say, oh, yes, I see it. It's an object of experience. and it's matter, but how so? It is such a wonderful, subtle, mystic experience. Yes, it's a subtle matter producing objects which are subtle. No matter how wonderful or attractive, they will never give liberation. Therefore, a true seeker of liberation should not be running after these, these. Well, I have some expression used in Portuguese, but let's say these very, very low level anandas, mini anandas, I call anandinhas, I want to pacify my mind and I want to have a good experience, and then I get some ananda, but it's a very defect kind of ananda. No true seeker of liberation is searching in these objective worlds, a world of subtle object of the experience, okay? Because a mature and qualified seeker of liberation will have no problem in discriminating this is not it, because anything that I can say it, this or that, is just within my consciousness, appearing in the scope of my conscious existence. Therefore, such a seeker of moksha will never be running after mystic experience, transcendental, ascending experience into different realms, escaping this material physical universe, going to interdimensional realms in which circumstances will be better, As long as the seeker is after such experience, the seeker will continue to be in the samsara, living in the objective world of his or her imagination. He or she will continue to be within finite mithya world. He or she will continue to be within anatima. He or she will continue to be a samsari. Very heavy stuff, huh? That's why nobody comes to our class. When we began years ago, there was 10 people or more, but very soon I saw how unqualified the group was. And very rapidly, people start disappearing from our group. You remember, Lee? Therefore, the third point to be noticed is for a spiritual seeker, meditation is not prescribed for gaining some mystical, extraordinary experience. And if at all such experience come, Gaudapada tells in the Mandukya Upanishad, even if such extraordinary experience come, reject them as more objects of experience. It's more anatima, it's more samsara. There is nothing to do with my goal, which is to realize the true nature of reality. Nothing to do. Gaudapada Acharya, Shankaracharya's grand guru. So he was the guru of Shankaracharya's guru. What he says, you may get, and if it comes, a mystical experience you may get, and if it comes, ask the question, is this an object or is this the true subject? So how can it be a subject? If I am consciousness, and consciousness is the subject, so now how can I have an experience of something that could be labeled as the subject as well? So it means to say reality is duality, or it means to say that I am consciousness and consciousness has the power to split in a way that it can experience itself as an object, which is an absurd, because consciousness is not amoeba-like, that splits and divides. And the very fact that the experience arrived and you had the experience and the experience departure indicate that that experience belongs to the objective field of experience, media. The experiencer does not arrive as an object of experience. The experience does never depart, at the end of any object of experience. It means to say the experience does not have beginning, middle, and end, the true nature of the experience. And every object of experience is bound by time. Therefore, the self is not an object even of a mystical, transcendental experience, but the self is the subject, the subjective consciousness principle, witnessing principle behind all the experience, illumining and revealing all experience, illumining and revealing all experience. How so? Reflecting the human intellect. And when the intellect is very sattvic, it may produce this kind of mystical projection. Therefore, a seeker should be interested in what? More on the self and not at all on such experience. Therefore, the third point to be noted is meditation is not prescribed for mystic experiences. So remember 3 points. Meditation is not meant for liberation. Meditation is not meant for self-knowledge. Meditation is not meant for mystic experience also. Okay. And we have to keep it clear that meditation here means upasana. You will see the definition. So in Paramarthananda, it calls all meditation, it's called dhyana. But he calls the dhyana of preparedness of the mind, purification of the mind, he calls upasana, okay? And the dhyana of assimilation and internalization of self-knowledge, he calls nididhyasana. And self-knowledge is clearly established by him that cannot be gained through shravana and manana. So we have created this basic foundation. The next question is, if meditation is not meant for any of these above things, so what is the true purpose of meditation? Meditation is not meant for anything that I sought. So then, for what purpose is meditation prescribed in the scriptures? What is the role and purpose of meditation? Swami responds, meditation has got 2 roles. The first one of meditation is to prepare the mind for spiritual shravana manana. The first role of meditation is upasana. Is the meditation that's going to help the mind to develop certain qualifications so that it can successfully enter the shravana manana stage in the Vedantic process. So this meditation is very difficult. This preparing meditation for preparing, purifying, refine. This meditation is very difficult without Karma Yoga. Therefore, Karma Yoga is prescribed first. And then within the context of Karma Yoga, we have the option of doing Upasana, which is the meditation to prepare, to improve, to refine, to purify the mind, preparing it for the spiritual knowledge gained through Shravana and Manana. You can call this preparation sadhana called upasana, the cultivating the mind, cultivation of mind. You can call it refinement of the mind. You can call it integration of the mind. You can call it purification of the mind. You can call it organization of the mind. Call whatever you like, okay? It's just dhyana of preparation for self-inquiry and self-knowledge. Just like when we prepare the soil when we want to sow some seeds, we need to prepare the soil and observe certain conditions. If fertilizer has not been added and the other conditions are not in place, we'll waste the seeds. So likewise, we need to prepare the mind so that meditation does not prove to become an exercise of frustration. The mind needs to be prepared. And the preparation of the mind, as you guys know, it begins with Karma Yoga and then goes through Vipassana so that we can go into self-inquiry and self-knowledge. So we do not say that meditation, only meditation prepares the mind. There are several other sadhanas that prepare the mind, but among other several sadhanas, meditation is a very important one, which will tune the mind. And preparatory meditation is called in Sanskrit Upasana. Preparatory meditation is called Upasana Dhyana. The word dhyana is a general word for all kinds of meditation. And Upasana Dhyana means meditation practice as a means to prepare the mind for self-inquiry and self-knowledge. Preparatory meditation should come before knowledge or self-inquiry and self-knowledge, or after knowledge. He's presenting a question here, an inquiry. Let's say, so what shall we say? Shall we do this meditation before Shravana and Manana or after Shravana and Manana? So most people come to Vedanta without passing by karma, yoga, observance of Dharma, and then Upasana, okay? Most people come to Vedanta, therefore unqualified, at least in the West. So the truth is that Upasana should come before we get in contact with self-inquiry and self-knowledge. And the truth is, this preparatory dhyana is going to be successful if the individual has passed through Karma Yoga and Dharma Yoga, as James likes to put. So therefore, of course, it's clear that this preparatory meditation should come before you go into self-inquiry and self-knowledge, the same way that you don't wash your hands after you eat, but you wash your hands before. You prepare your hands for eating, and of course, in India, it's even more relevant because people tend to eat with their hands. After the preparatory meditation, what are we supposed to do? So we have to gain spiritual knowledge, and we have to gain spiritual knowledge not through more meditation, more preparatory meditation, more refining meditation. Well, we have to gain self-knowledge, spiritual wisdom, through self-inquiry. We don't do it through more meditation, but we do meditation to prepare the mind for the Shravana and Manana in the light of the teachings of Vedanta with the help of a competent guru. Spiritual knowledge is altogether a new universe. It has nothing to do with dhyana of preparation or refinement or cultivation, purification, integration of the mind, and so on. What shall we do to gain this self-knowledge? Should I meditate more and more and more? I have already said in the introduction, the meditation will never give self-knowledge. Therefore, when I want to get self-knowledge, what shall I do? I have to go after the means of self-knowledge. I have to find a proper means of self-knowledge. Every knowledge in the objective world of science requires its specific means of knowledge, as we know. This means of knowledge is called pramanam. And we have already established that meditation, yogic meditation, is not a pramanam for self-knowledge and moksha. Therefore, there is some other pramanams, which I think I have discussed before when I want to see when I want to see my eyes. I have a peculiar problem. What's the problem? The eyes can never see themselves. So this analogy is very simple. It appears again and again in the Vedanta expositions, but it's very, very important and profound. The eyes that sees the world are never going to be able to see themselves, because in order for the eye to see themselves, they need another means of knowledge, which is not the vision of the eyes. He needs what? He needs a mirror. And just imagine those days that there was no mirror. So people would say, oh, I fell in love with you. Which is your tribe? Oh, I come from that tribe. Oh, I want to marry you. And your eyes are wonderful. Yeah. And then the other is like, oh my God, my eyes are wonderful. Okay. So how am I going to know if my eyes are really wonderful or this person is drunk? You understand? I have no means to see my eyes because the eyes require a different pramanam in order to see themselves. The experiencer will never see itself in any objective experience. The knower is never going to see itself in any object of knowledge. We need a different sort of pramana. And this pramana is exactly like a mirror. And this mirror are the scriptures of the Upanishads and Vedanta that are going to reflect back to the seer, to the knower and the experiencer, one's true nature. It's a very peculiar kind of mirror that reflects back to the inquirer its true nature. Not literally like a reflection in a mirror, but it reflects back because it's a good expression, because the individual in the beginning, he goes through Shravanam, but Shravanam not necessarily translates as self-knowledge. There is a moment that the reflection takes place. Oh my God, I knew it all before. It's nothing new. I had already information. I had already knowledge. But now there is a reflection. Now there is the ha-ha. Now there is the clarity in respect to what the scripture have been saying. Well, I need to see my eyes, and I cannot see it with any instruments, not even using telescope or microscope, anything. I need to see my eyes. And the only method is a different kind of pramana, which is the mirror. And with the help of a mirror, I can see my eyes. Similarly, I have to see myself. I have to know myself. When the knower has to be known, the knower has to be known. He cannot be known objectively because he is the knower. The knower can be the knower and the known, okay? So after this reflection happens, and then the knower can even say that, oh my God, now there is no question of knower, known, and knowledge. Everything collapsed because there is only Brahman and I am, and everything is only Brahman. But during this process, it's important to understand the experiencer will never be known as an object of experience, because the inquirer is either the knower or the known. I need a totally different kind of pramana to help me. Doesn't matter if I sit in profound, deep meditation for 24,000 years, nothing will happen. It's like using the eyes. 12 years I have used, trying to see my very eyes, but I failed. I need to be introduced to a mirror. Similarly, when I want self-knowledge, I have to use an appropriate mirror. That is the scriptural pramana, which is called Shastra pramana, which is called Upadesa pramana. The scriptural teachings of the Upanishads will serve as a sort of mirror. That's called Sadbaha pramana. There are many names, so we don't need to get confused with different names point to the same phenomenon, which is a mirror-like effect caused by the revelations of the Upanishads. If I use the mirror properly, not only a mirror is required, but the mirror should be appropriately used. This is also very interesting. Yeah. So I have to use the mirror, but the mirror has to be in a light place, not a dark place, on a proper angle. No? The mirror should be dust-free. No? It has to be clean. So the same way, this pramana, although the pramana is always clean and clear, this reflection occurs in the human intellect, and the human intellect, which is the mirror that is going to get the knowledge. We say that the pramana is the Upanishad is like a reflector, a mirror that reflects to individual, but the true mirror is the human intellect. So this mirror must be properly utilized together with the pramana of the scriptural knowledge. And then this reflection takes place. Only this will give knowledge. And how should I use this mirror? What is the way to use? That alone we discuss in the 4th chapter of the Gita. So verse 34, it said, you have to go through twofold exercise known as Shravana and Mananam. Shrashta. Shravana and Manana is called the exercise of Jnana Yoga, called Vedanta Vichara, called Adhyatma Yoga, called Brahma Vinyanasa. These are different names defined in one and single Shravana. The definition of Shravana is systematic and consistent study of the scriptures for a length of time under the guidance of a competent acharya. I love this phrase of Swamiji, systematic and consistent. Consistent, that is very important. Systematic, so you need to go through the scriptures from the first chapter to the last chapter, and it's better to begin with the simpler scriptures and then grow with the process under the guidance of a guru. So that's the way we need to use this mirror. And this proper usage of the mirror is going to further prepare or purify the mind to get this reflection. The reflection happens between the scriptural words or declarations of the Upanishads, and the way they are received in the human intellect. It can be received only as information, but a point comes in which the information becomes a fact in regards to one's true nature. Therefore, systematic and consistent study of the scriptures. So what is the mirror here? What is the pramana? Is the Vedanta scriptures, okay? So they present is a means by which I will see my true nature. The same way the eyes see themselves reflect in a mirror, I'm gonna see my true nature, see quote unquote my true nature as an interface, in a kind of interface between the scripture knowledge being presented by Shravana and my intellect that is taking it and further getting purification and cultivations of higher qualities and properties to get this reflection, get this knowledge, getting this firm and clear understanding. Systematic and consistent study of the scripture dealing with the self, not any other scriptures dealing with the self for a length of time, not listening to a little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah. Oh, I just open my book, whatever the page is, and then I study the scriptures. You know that one? Yeah. Oh, then I open, okay. Now you're gonna get some fragments or some pointers, but you're gonna have more trouble to develop the big picture and the clear reflection. But for a length of time means to say, be patient, be persistent, be consistent. Yeah. Under the guidance of Acharya is called Shravanam. Shravanam is what we get from the Guruji. So we get the Shravanam from the teacher, and then all the rest will depend on us. And when this is done appropriately, Shravanam produces self-knowledge. So we need to use the words of the Vedanta as a mirror appropriately. And it's not only the work of the guru presenting the mirror like that, but the student has to do its own manana and nijijasana so that he can see, get a reflection. Yeah? When this is done appropriately, it produces self-knowledge. You have to operate this and see for yourself. Utilize this pramana, and you will see the mirror, and you can see your eye. Suppose you have got doubt, what should I do? I should use the mirror and see for yourself. Whether I can see my eye, similarly, use the Vedanta Shravanam and see for yourself whether self-knowledge arises or not. And then he say, it will for sure arise. You know? See for yourself. So Shravanam produces knowledge. And when, as even I listen to the scriptures, certainly I will receive the knowledge. But doubts will arise in the mind. So not only produce knowledge, but will produce some doubts and uncertainties or suspiciousness or yes, because Vedanta teaching is so different from what we know. It is counterintuitive, like James likes to put. It is difficult to believe it. Vedanta will say that I am Brahman, that I am free, I am limitlessness, and so on. I'm infinite consciousness, but I don't feel that way. Whatever I'm seeking in life, Vedanta says, I already am. So another thing, which is another pointer, another statement, Vedantic statement that they are used, this statement is used a little bit all over the place. You are what you are seeking. But most people have no idea what they are. These gurus, I have been to several gurus, and some of them, once in a while, they read a book and they say, oh, I'm going to launch this one in such science today. You are what you are seeking. So Vedanta says that I'm seeking fullness. and I'm full. I'm seeking peace, and peace is my nature. So I'm seeking security, and my nature is the only source of security. I'm seeking the truth, and I am the truth. Vedanta says you are the truth, and in fact, the only truth, the only truth, the only truth, the only reality. That's it. The seer is the truth, and the seen is anathema, untruth. So the difficulty here is that at first we have a hard time to accept these compliments given by the Upanishads. It says so highly about us. And why we cannot accept that? Because deep inside we are programmed to believe that we are small, incomplete, inadequate, and the body-mind very limited, and so on. Wrong notions in regards to that which we really are. So we are the only source of ananda, peace, and satisfaction. How so? Yes, you are conscious existing entity. And if you don't think about anything in regards to yourself, even in meditation, you're going to feel ananda. But what is the problem? You're going to feel peace, which is the best sort of ananda. If I don't bring in any concept about myself, I will feel this peace that I'm searching for, and then feel, oh, yeah, I have to go and do meditation to gain samadhi. So even doing that kind of silent meditation, I will find the peace, and that is going to further mislead me to believe that that's the way I have to go. I have found peace. Security. Oh, yes. In that moment of deep meditation, I felt really safe. The world disappeared. There was no threat. I was just enjoying peace, ananda. I want to know the truth. Yes, in that moment, I felt like Jesus is the truth, this peace that passes all understanding. Well, Vedanta says that silent meditation is going to satisfy you, but only temporarily, because that state depends on a certain discipline of controlling the gunas operating the mind. And once you suspend the discipline, the gunas are going to follow their natures, and the mind is going to modify, and you are not going to find the peace that Vedanta says it's your very intrinsic nature. So what is the difference here? You need to understand the entire body of teachings presented by Vedanta until you can firmly and clearly claim that, yes, I am Satchitananda, I am a conscious existing entity, living with the aid of this body-mind-sense complex, and my true nature is limitless consciousness existence of non-dual nature, and this is the only source of peace. And this can be established by knowledge. And only by knowledge the mind can hold a certain state by which we can understand these statements that you are looking for peace, you are your peace. You are looking for security, you are security. You are looking for love, you are the source of love. You are looking for the truth, you are the only truth. So we need to go through the entire process of Vedanta to be able to understand what is in there, in that statement. You are what you were seeking, because we only want to find happiness, and your nature is ananda, is the very source of happiness, but you need to understand it. It does not matter if you get a momentary experience of peace, that peace rapidly disappears as the mind modifies its guna proportions. Anyway, I do not want to go much into these aspects of the teaching. How can I be secure? How can I be the truth? So the thinker at the beginning has a hard time to accept that. All these doubts comes. All question comes. And the instruction is do not ask these questions immediately. Listen to the teachings and receive all the important features of the teachings. Receive all the important features of the teaching until you have complete that. Keep your mind, your doubts aside. Don't doubt Vedanta. Don't challenge those statements because your mind is not prepared to accept them. Take it on face value until you can take it as a fact. You can write down, Swamiji makes this statement, oh, I do not accept, I did not like this, I did not like that, you know. Write a thing, write all your questions and all your objections. Vedanta does not say that you should take everything on faith, on blind faith, but you should open your mind, expose your mind to the entire teaching of Vedanta before you ask gross questions. Because as we know, the very process is going to present us the answers. When we look back and say, oh my God, I had these and these and these questions. Now, it may be even good to write the question for people beginning this process. And then you're going to understand that the very Shravana and Manana is going to resolve the question, make these questions disappear. Listening to the Shravana, receiving the Shravana from the Guru is the most difficult task in the world. And I get the knowledge only through listening to the expositions coming from the teacher. But if I have too many doubts, the doubts are going to disturb my mind, because it's very easy. There are things that are easy to be said, but difficult to be accomplished. One of them is hold your doubts. And here Swami is saying that when you're doing the okay, unusual collapse of the signal here. Did you miss much, or you listened to the very moment that it dropped?
I don't think we missed very much.
Okay, so Swami here is presenting the fact that the Shravanam needs to be done as we need to leave our doubts outside together with our shoes or sandals and listen to the knowledge without rejecting those things we do not understand, but we believe like this is wrong. No, it's better you understand it. It's not wrong. I don't understand it yet. But it's not that easy. And when the doubts are there, you're going to listen, and the doubts are going to be hand in hand, hand to hand with your listening. Why should I accept the scriptures is the most fundamental doubts that the person is going to deal with. This is the basic doubt. From that doubt onwards, you can imagine all possible questions and doubts under the sun. And this knowledge is called samsaya, sahita, jnana. Knowledge mixed with doubt. So this is when you start taking the Vedanta teachings with the help of Guru, it's even worse when you try to push aside the Guru and you try to do it alone, because then the distortion is even bigger. No? So this knowledge is what James used to call knowledge mixed up with ignorance. So knowledge which was filtered, knowledge which is just what I agree, and what I disagree, I just don't swallow that, you know. So it's called samsaya, sahita, shahita, jnana. Knowledge mixed up with a lot of filtering and doubts, you know. I'm holding on to my spiritual beliefs and program, and I'm taking in only that which is in harmony with our already. No. And then Swami says, a doubtful vague, abstract knowledge or knowledge mixed up with wrong notions or ignorance is not a good knowledge. Doubtful, mixed up knowledge is, for all practical purpose, just ignorance, only ignorance, okay? It's as good as total ignorance, and it's even more difficult. So there is a concept that I share, I agree, is that sometimes it's better to have somebody totally ignorant spiritually to receive the knowledge. The problem with having people who has a lot of knowledge, not good knowledge, wrong concepts, or mix up concepts, and then it's very difficult for them to give up what they believe it is good knowledge. And to sort out between what is good knowledge and the new knowledge becomes, or what is good and bad knowledge, because when we move around in the Neo-Advaita or any other circles, you know, there is some fragments of good knowledge there, but it's so mixed up with wrong notions. So it becomes difficult to listen with proper attitude. Suppose my wire is hanging there, a cable, and you want to touch that wire. You ask me, is there power? Is there power in that wire? I said, no, it's not a live wire. You can touch them when the other person is ready to touch, the person say, but are you sure? And then I say 99% sure. Okay. So that 1% possibility of being I don't know how to say that.
Electrocuted.
Electrocuted. That 1% is enough to destroy my conviction, my trust. So that 1% will destroy my self-knowledge. Therefore, the spiritual sadhana continues. The second stage of spiritual sadhana is the removal of doubts, the so-called manana. In the first stage, I am gathering the teachings, and whatever doubts come, I keep aside. In the second stage of sadhana is exclusively meant for removal of all possible doubts, which is called samsaya nivritti, otherwise called manana. And when I go through this manana, what is it? Manana. And when I go through the manana, I ask questions to myself, and then with the data, the teaching that I have received, I myself try to answer my question. In fact, generally, I will be able to resolve my question, but if it's not the case for those more difficult questions, you present the questions to the guru. So that is the point here. And we stop here today. And we are only going through the introduction. We know that Swamiji's summaries and introductions are very profound and extensive. And we meet again this coming Friday with back with the Mandukya. Okay. Anything from you guys?
Just really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Looking forward to this chapter a lot.
It's
I've
very
read Swami Dayananda's 6th chapter, which is excellent, but I hadn't had experience with Swami P. So really happy to do this with you. Thank you.
wonderful. I'm excited as well to revise it as well as someone exposing it, unfolding it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Meet you again soon. Ishwara Wile.
Okay, many thanks, Arlindo.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Lee.